Hello everyone. Today we are discussing post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. I am Khan Sail Ahmed, a second year MBBS student from Queen's Karwar. As we explore post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, we will cover definition, etiology and pathogenesis, growth and microscopy, and clinical feature and diagnosis. These elements provided through overview, preparing us for a more detailed discussion in subsequent slide. Post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis is an acute condition primarily affecting children aged 6 to 10, mainly in developing countries, caused by a nephrogenic strain of Group A beta hemolytic streptococcus. It results in immune complex mediated glomerular injury with symptoms like hematuria, edema, hypertension, oliguria, and sometimes proteinuria. While most children recover fully, some may develop complication of chronic kidney disease. Highlighting the need for early recognition and management, diagnostic tests such as urinalysis and anti-streptolysin or titer are essential for accurate diagnosis and treatment. Post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis is an acute kidney condition that can develop 1 to 6 weeks after a throat infection or 3 to 6 weeks after a skin infection. Triggered by an immune complex mediated type 3 hypersensitivity reaction, it highlights the intricate link between infection and the immune response. Post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis arises from primary streptococcal infection, often in the pharynx or skin, with prevalence linked to overcrowding and fear hygiene. This nephrogenic M protein plays a key role with specific type associated with threat 1, 4, 12, and 25, and skin infection 2, 49, 55, 57, and 60. Notably, over 90% of cases are due to M type 1, 4, and 12. This condition involves immune complex nephritis, where immune complexes target glomerular protein leading to kidney complication. Understanding this etiology is essential for exploring the pathogenesis of kidney damage. This slide outlines the pathogenesis of post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, which is caused by an immune response. Infection arises from nephrogenic beta hemolytic streptococci in the pharynx or skin. Then bacteria antigen enter the bloodstream, deposit in the glomerular basement membrane, and form immune complexes. And these complexes trigger complement activation and leading to inflammation, glomerular damage. This leads to the movement of immune complexes exacerbate damage, resulting in nephritic syndrome characterized by hematuria and hypertension. Today we will explore the mechanism behind glomerular injury, focusing on both immune and non-immune factor. Immune mechanism, in which antibody mediated injury, deposition of circulating immune complexes, endogenous like DNA and exogenous like infectious product. Formation of immune complexes in situ with intrinsic glomerular antigen, as in membranous glomerulopathy, and planted antigen, exogenous or endogenous. Deposition of anti-glomerular basement membrane antibody, typical in anti-GBM nephritis. Cell-mediated immune injury also contributes significantly to glomerular damage. Non-immune mechanism, in which activation of alternative complement pathway and direct glomerular injury leads to damage independent of immune complex. This mechanism can overlap, complicating clinical presentation and treatment. Next, we will examine immunological mechanism of antibody-mediated glomerulonephritis and their effect on kidney morphology. To understand the immunological mechanism behind antibody-mediated glomerulonephritis, Let's focus on a few critical aspects that drive this complex process. First, we see the First we see that the formation of immune complexes is central. These complexes form when a specific antibody bind to antigens, which can be intrinsic to glomerular or introduced from external source. This binding triggers a sequence of inflammation event. Next, consider the role of complement activation. Once these immune complexes are formed, they activate the complement system, a part of immune system that enhance the ability to clear pathogens and damage cells. This activation contribute to inflammation and tissue damage. And lastly, the deposition of antibodies against the glomerular basement membrane itself can lead directly to injury as they target this critical structure, undermining its integrity. In summary, antibody mediated glomerulonephritis is an multifaceted process involving immune complexes formation, complement activation, and direct antibody targeting, all contributing to glomerular damage. Let's take a closer look at the morphology of kidney affected by glomerular injury. This is a crucial aspect to understand as it lays the foundation of identifying and diagnosing the condition. Firstly, the kidney in this condition is slightly enlarged and swollen. This enlargement is visible indicator of the underlying pathology. Next, the surface of kidney appears smooth and pale. This smoothness and paleness can be attributed to the reduced blood flow and possible inflammation affecting the organ's appearance. Upon cutting the kidney, the internal structure reveals cortical edema, which is essentially swelling due to fluid accumulation. Additionally, you might notice occasional petechial hemorrhage, a small red or purple spot caused by bleeding into the skin. These details are essential markers that help differentiate this condition from others. This morphological understanding set the stage for the more detailed microscopic examination that we will discuss in next slide. When examining the microscopy of antibody-mediated glomerulonephritis, we begin with light microscopy. Here you will notice the condition is characterized by diffuse proliferative glomerulonephritis. This means almost all glomeruli are affected. The glomeruli are notably enlarged and hypercellular. This is due to proliferation of both mesangial and endothelial cell. What is also significant is the infiltration of neutrophils and monocytes, which contributes to hypercellularity. As a result, the lumina are the capillary lamina are often narrowed or even obliterated. Additionally, there may be interstitial edema accompanied by mild inflammatory cell infiltration, and the tubules might contain red blood cell cast, which is a key diagnostic clue. This feature collectively highlighting the aggressive nature of immune response in this condition. Next, we will explore how immunofluorescence microscopy adds another layer of understanding by revealing specific immunological deposits. In this slide, we are focusing on finding from immunofluorescence microscopy, which provides a unique window into kidney pathology. Let's highlight the key feature. First, we observe the Hauser's and granules deposit, often referred to a lumpy bumpy or starry sky patterns. These deposits are primarily composed of IgG and C3 and sometimes IgN. These immune complexes deposit are crucial as they are distributed along the glomerular basement membrane and within the mesangium, indicating an underlying immune-mediated process affecting the kidney. The presence of this deposit helps in diagnosis and understanding the extent of disease, influencing treatment decision. By identifying this pattern, we gain critical insight into the pathophysiology of condition, which we will further explore with electron microscopy in the next slide. In this slide, we are focusing on finding we would observe under electron microscopy in cases of glomerulonephritis. One of the hallmark feature you will notice is the presence of large subepithelial electron dense deposits, often referred to as a hump. These are located on the epithelial side of glomerular basement membrane, which is a key characteristic of this condition. Additionally, a smaller mesangial and subendothelial deposit might also be present and contributing further to the complexity of disease. Another crucial aspect is a effacement or fusion of podocyte food processes. This effacement significantly impact the filtering function of kidney, leading to some of the symptoms we will discuss in the next slide. Today we are focusing on clinical feature of our condition, and I want to highlight a few key symptoms that are often observed. First, let's talk about edema, which is the most common presenting feature. You might notice facial swelling, particularly around the eyes in the morning, and swelling in the legs, known as a pedal edema. In more severe cases, this can progress to a more generalized swelling, medically referred to as a nasarca. Next is a hematuria, where urine may appear smoky, tea colored, or even cola colored due to the presence of blood. It's important to remember that this can also be microscopic, meaning it might not be visible to naked eye but detected through test. Additionally, oliguria is a concern which is a decreased urine outflow. This occurs due to reduced glomerular filtration rate, indicating that the kidney are not filtering blood as they should. Hypertension or high blood pressure is another feature, often mild to moderate, but it can become severe, leading to complications like hypersensitivity, encephalopathy. This is typically due to sodium and water retention. Lastly, proteinuria is usually mild to moderate, but in some cases it can reach nephrotic level, exceeding 3.5 gram per day. These These clinical features are crucial for early detection and management. Let's keep this in mind as we move forward to discuss other symptoms and diagnostic approach. When discussing constitution symptoms, it's important to connect with the audience by emphasizing how these symptoms can affect a patient's daily life. Start by explaining that fever, malaise, weakness can lead to general feeling of being unwell, making it challenging for individual to carry out routine activities. Highlight that these symptoms are often accompanied by headache and loss of appetite, which can further contribute to decrease in overall energy and well-being. When discussing the diagnosis of glomerulonephritis, it's crucial to focus on both blood and urinary finding. Firstly, let's highlight the blood finding. Tries anti-streptococcal antibody titer such as anti-streptolysin O titer are indicative, although they might be lower in cases following a streptococcal skin infection. Additionally, hypocomplementemia is a significant marker showing a notable reduction in serum complement C3 component, which is key diagnostic feature. Finally, elevated blood urea and serum creatine levels signal renal impairment, underscoring the kidney reduced ability to function effectively. Turning to urinary finding, note the presence of oliguria or reduced urine output, which reflect decreased kidney filtration. Proteinuria is a typically mild with protein excretion usually below 1 gram per day. Hematuria is another critical finding where the urine may appear smoky or cola colored due to the presence of red blood cell. Under microscopy, you might observe red cell cast or dysmorphic red cell, which are red cell with unusual shape or protrusions, a hallmark of glomerular damage. Thank you.